it was a COVID positive diagnosis. So that means that if you were in hospice and had already been given, a few weeks to live, and then you also were found to have COVID, that would be counted as a COVID death. It means that even if you died of a clear alternate cause, but you had COVID at the same time, it's still listed as a COVID death. So everyone who's listed as a COVID death doesn't mean that was the cause of the death, but they had COVID at the time of death. I hope that's helpful.
Total death rate. It's worth remembering again that the ONS rates are people who've got COVID on their death certificate. It doesn't necessarily mean they were infected because many of them haven't been tested, so we just need to understand the difference.
Well, last Friday, I received a 7-page document that sort of told me that if I had an 86-year-old patient that had pneumonia but was never tested for COVID-19, but sometime after she came down with pneumonia, we learned that she had been exposed to her son who had no symptoms, but later on was identified with COVID-19, that it would be appropriate to diagnose on the death certificate COVID-19. Now, we've not done that. If someone has the pneumonia and it's in the middle of a flu epidemic, and I don't have a test on influenza, I don't diagnose influenza on the death certificate. I will say this elderly patient died of pneumonia.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but my heart is sinking right now as you're telling me this. You're a doctor. Why in the world would they be sending you out information to fill out death certificates, whether the person's been diagnosed with COVID-19 or not, but then to say in the death certificate this person's death was caused by COVID-19? That does not sound right to me.
Even if you died of a clear alternate cause, but you had COVID at the same time, it's still listed as a COVID death.
People who've got COVID on their death certificate, it doesn't necessarily mean they were infected because many of them haven't been tested.
Everyone who's listed as a COVID death doesn't mean that was the cause of the death, but they had COVID at the time of death.
It's called lockstep.
What's up, Barry? All right, man. What do you know, Barry? You can take out the mask. The case fatality rate's like 0.1 to 0.3 according to USC. Is it really? That's reassuring. USC. Everybody here's been vaccinated anyway. USC and LA County Public Health came up with a study. They found that there are 7,000 cases in California, but they really believe that there are anywhere from 221,000 to 442,000 people who were infected. Really? Yeah.
And so that makes it 0.1 to 0.3? Does a study to come out with? Or?
Yeah, just give it to them. So it suggests that the case fatality risk is 10. Wow. Which puts you right in line with the flu.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what it is.
So it was a hoax. I don't think it was a hoax.
It's a scam, folks. It's such a provable